Good afternoon, teachers. Today we're going to be talking about the I do portion of your science class. So today I wanted to go over a couple of things that I prepared before I jump into the lesson, and you guys will be my students. A couple of things that I have on hand here. You guys should have this sheet, which Virginia has printed out and has available for you guys. This is the I do guiding notes, and you guys can fill this out while I am going over my lesson so that it can help clarify each section of this, and also you can use it when you guys are planning a little bit later this afternoon. So first of all, we're looking at learning objectives, then the vocabulary terms and key points, how I'm going to be introducing that, and then what the teacher actions and the student actions are during the I do section of my lesson. The other thing that I used before I began this lesson is I am including here, this is the sample of the guided notes that my students would each have on their desk. So they get this after they're due now. We're going to be going over this as they're listening to me talk. They're going to be filling this out. So you'll notice that my slides mimic this paperwork. So they'll have this for class notes once they get done. So let's start with the lesson. Today we're going to be discussing the vocabulary word vital. Does anyone remember what this word is from earlier on in our lessons? We've talked a little bit around this, but does anyone remember? Okay, vital, as we see in our vocabulary on the board here, vital is necessary for life. So can somebody just explain to me, what does that mean exactly? Great. So when we're thinking about something being necessary for life, it is essential that you have it in order to live. So we're going to be using this term throughout our lesson today. You'll notice that on your guided notes. We're going to go ahead and get started. So water is vital for living things. Something that is necessary for life. As we discussed, the word vital, you can see here, is essential for all living things. So make sure in your guided notes, you guys are writing in the important bolded and underlined words. Water is the most vital thing there is. All known forms of living things depend on water and could not survive without it. We know this is true because we're often thirsty and we need water in order to stay hydrated. Same thing for plants and animals. You could go almost a month without food, but you can only live a few days without water. That's an amazing thing because we often think, oh, we need to eat all the time in order to survive. But actually, it's water that is most important. That is why water is vital. And here is our image of a person climbing a desert hill, or if you are out in the desert, right, and you're crossing it and you need water, that's essential. Living things need water. As we discussed, plants need water in order to live. You guys can see out in our garden section, often plants are not looking so great when it's really hot out, and that's because they need water. So plants use water to make food that they need to grow and develop. So without the water, they can't go through the process of photosynthesis. We also know that animals need water. They live in it. It's where their food lives. In this case, we've got a sea otter, and this guy lives in the water. He catches fish, which also require water. So many living things live in the water, right? And even we see like the coral here, that is an organism that, although it doesn't move like a fish or a sea turtle, it definitely, if it were taken out of the water, it would dry up and be non-living. And there's our friendly otter again. Great. So from our guided notes, some questions I have for you today. What does it mean for something to be vital? What does it mean for something to be vital? I would like for you to turn and talk to your neighbor for the next 5 seconds. You guys are going to turn and talk and come up with something that what you think it means for something to be vital. Go. Great. Bringing it back. The second question that I have for you guys is, how is water an example of something that's vital? We know the word vital can be used for a lot of different things. But how can water be used as an example? Okay, I'm going to do a cold call. Let's see. Monica, how is water a symbol of something that is vital for life? Great. Okay, and lastly, what are some ways that living things, we have some great examples here, that living things use water? Fantastic. Great. And we also have a graphic on our page, which I see here. I'm taking this graphic organizer that you guys were writing on. What are some ways that our own human bodies are using water? We see that our bodies consist of 90% water. That's a lot of water, right? Or for the most part, aside from our bones, our bodies are pretty soft because they're using that water. Yep, that's right. It also makes sure that we have a good metabolism, and it helps us absorb nutrients better, right? Without water, we're not able to actually digest food and absorb those nutrients. Fantastic. So if we're looking back at the objective, now I'm cutting to interacting with my teachers here. At this point, we're going to continue on with the lesson that I'm teaching with students, so they would be moving into some guided practice. After that point, we would revisit the objective and make sure that we are on point for today. So our objective today was to explain why water is vital for living things. So you can see from not only the presentation, the guided notes, and the questioning, we're able to answer that question with students. And again, you will, through your I Do, you're unpacking those new ideas. So you want to make sure that both you have a good way of presenting it and your students have a great way of absorbing that information. Is it guided notes? What are they doing specifically that's going to help them remember the new information that you have? And don't forget, vocabulary is key. So as you can see here, I put the vocabulary up on the board. In your classroom, my hope is that we are having word walls with a picture, a definition, and the actual title of the word so that students are able to reference that all the way through the unit. Again, I am hopeful that we will be able to see really fantastic I Do sessions, and I hope that this session has been really helpful for you guys. Next, you guys are going to do a little work on your own. And please feel free to review this video if you need to look at specific sections.